More vultures.
Preying on the weak. Since the fall of the Immortals, they'd inherited all of Singapore. Turned the place into some twisted version of the Wild West. After the events at the safe house, we caught their attention. They weren't exactly thrilled with us on their turf, and were taking it out on the locals to find us.
Why didn't you step in? You could have saved them.
Calculated risks. We needed to stay quiet and lay low.
But there's always a chance, isn't there?
Chance is a billion-sided die. You like the odds of that? If they didn't die today, they'd die tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the day after. One way or another, death was coming for all of us. Nobody was getting out alive. If we tried to save them, it could be our necks in those collars. We weren't there to save 2 people. We were there to save all the rest of us. We needed to get to the Black Station, raising as little alarm as possible. The last thing we needed were the dead and vultures after our throats. Turns out the odds were already stacked against us. Winds were picking up. The superstorm could hit at any moment. Good thing we grabbed those spike anchors. We were gonna need them. The plan was to wait on the drone strike. Once it did its part, we'd move in. The missiles were ineffective, the wind too strong, and now that ocean liner looked like it was about to rip free. That thing would pulverize the dock, taking the data drive with it. Hendricks said, fuck it. We were built to kill the dead. No reason to switch it up now. We secured the first part of the drive, and uploaded the information to Kane. Hendricks moved to sweep the wheelhouse. The howling wind told us we had to hit it fast and quick. But of course, the superstorm hit sooner than expected. The barge ripped free and barreled towards us. Hang on for dear life. We'd been set to rendezvous at an abandoned police station, but we were off route. We cut through the flooded subway to save time. With the dead cleared out, we moved toward our rendezvous. Turns out we weren't the only living things in there. A vulture got the drop on us, determined to reduce us to scrap metal. he'd hit a big payday with us cornered.
You were a payday to him? How so?
We were dead killers. You break us down to spare parts, you can fetch a pretty penny on the black market.
But you were there to fight the dead. You were an ally.
Maybe in 2070, when we were the saviors of mankind. By 2075, everybody wanted a piece of us. This guy would have gotten his share, too. But Kane did her part to make sure that didn't happen.
She was well trained. Was she CIA? Winslow Accord?
She was just someone who was always in the right place, at the right time. Before we could move on the Black Station, we had other problems.
What had gone wrong?
We hadn't taken the scavengers into account. They'd figured out they had dead killers in their midst. Kane told us they had a comms relay ahead. If we scramble them, it could lead the vultures away from the Black Station, at least long enough for us to get what we needed.
So much for maintaining a low profile, I suppose.
What did I tell you? The thing about dead killers is there's always a plan B. You don't create the problems, just the solutions. You adapt to what's thrown at you.
Adapt or die.
Yeah. Adapt or die. We plan to regroup with Kane outside of Chinatown. With their comms scrambled, we had one less nuisance to deal with at the Black Station. Now to get the drive and get the hell out of this shithole.
You couldn't take being here, could you? You felt haunted coming back to this city.
The feeling had latched onto me at the safe house. Like I was being watched. Something had their eyes on me.
Something, not someone.
And I just felt something pulling me, guiding me. I couldn't shake it. Our rendezvous with Kane was just ahead. By the time we rendezvoused with Kane, the dead were crawling all over the street.
What was Kane's plan?
Hit him in the gullet, then bag and tag. Gotta admit, the girl wasn't afraid of a fight. She seemed to welcome it, relish it.
Like yourself?
Like a berserker. Like a dead killer.
What did you find in the Black Station?
Slaughtered CIA staff. We weren't the only ones looking for the data drives. It was a gruesome scene. Kane quickly assembled the drive.
What did you learn? Did you find the information on Deimos?
We found a dossier. A diary, really. A living testament of what happened 15 years ago, and in the years since. It explained Project Corvus, a CIA mind control experiment. These scientists had combined two ancient biochemical compounds, Nova-6 and something called Element 115. They fused them together, created a chemical cocktail, and injected it through their test subjects' DNI. They wanted to control them.
Control them?
Those corpses, below Coalescence in Project Corvus, they weren't patients. They were prisoners, the criminally insane. The scientists believed they could make them well again, make people better.
But instead, they opened the gateway.
A gateway to Malum. It's another dimension filled with absolute evil. It sounds crazy even saying it now, but they opened it not realizing what they'd done, and they let him through.
Deimos.
Deimos, demigod of dread and terror. He caused the Coalescence disaster, unleashed 6115 upon the world, creating the undead that roamed the Earth. There were details on Taylor's team. They were working for Deimos. Helped him trigger Armageddon. There was also other information on his sister, Dolos, demigoddess of trickery and deception. Deimos, he didn't like her very much.
And the researcher? Did he have a name? Who wrote this document?
Yes, it was... Wait. Holy shit. Dr. Salim. It said Dr. Salim. It was you. You wrote the dossier on Deimos. You were the man behind Project Corvus. Why didn't you tell me? You created Project Corvus, wrote the report. You pulled me along like you had no clue what I was talking about.
If I had told you, the impact would not have been the same. You know that. That you could not recall is no fault of mine.
After the Black Station, we had to find you. Find out what you knew.
I was in Cairo at the time. Your friend, Khalil.
He brought you to Ramsey Station, humanity's last holdout in Egypt. We knew who Deimos was, where he was from, but we didn't know why. He'd taken over the world, but to do what? To find out why, we had to talk to you. The pieces were coming together. Virus 6115, Taylor's team, the undead. It all came back to Deimos. All we needed was you. Hendricks was unhinged. The idea his friends betrayed mankind to help a demigod. The concept alone was insane, let alone his friends' involvement. Kane was in it to the end. By now, she was as obsessed with stopping Deimos as we were. We weren't ready for Cairo, no matter what we thought. This place. If there was ever a place that was hell on Earth, this was it. It wasn't just the city. The entirety of northern Africa had fallen to the undead. The walls were covered with memories of the dead, those taken by 6115. Lost to this wasteland, the desert for the undead. It was the last place on Earth you'd want to be. But you chose to hide there. Why?
For that very reason. I hoped no one would come for me.
Why? What were you running from?
From what you sought. Deimos.
Khalil was waiting. He was holding you in an interrogation room.
How was Khalil? Happy to see you.
It wasn't a warm welcome. As far as he was concerned, we owed him one for grabbing you. More than a few men gave their lives to bring you in. He hoped it was worth it.
He was angry?
He was tired. Tired of fighting a losing battle. Khalil was a realist. He'd fight to the death for country. But he knew what was coming.
And what was coming?
Extinction. The undead changed everything. The NRC were hit first and hardest. We saw that in Ethiopia. The damage done by the dead didn't even take into account what the water wars did. When the continent dried up and the Nile River Coalition took war to Egypt over the Nile, the last water supply. They were so busy fighting they didn't realize it too had dried up. With the rise of the undead, how do you fight an enemy that doesn't need water? Khalil's rage wasn't misplaced. It wasn't personal. He was just barely holding on.
What did you hope to learn from speaking to me?
How to stop Deimos. Everyone has a weakness. The whole base was on edge. You could feel it in the air. The dead were moving on Ramses. An assault was imminent. Khalil didn't know how much time we had with you. Hendricks demanded to know why we weren't informed.
How did Khalil respond to his anger?
WA command was down. How was he meant to get his message through? Besides, they still had their dead system. They used to knock enemy aircraft out of the sky, but now they were used to eviscerate the undead. If any came too close, the laser cannons would take them out. Khalil led us to interrogation. He warned us our time was limited. No telling when the dead might attack. But if we could get answers out of you, maybe we could find a way to fight back. You certainly weren't too happy to see us.
You say it like I had a choice in the matter.
With no time, we needed you to be willing to talk. The truth serum would make you relax, more willing to divulge. Hendricks told us to take a walk. He asked about Taylor and Deimos. He wanted you to connect the dots.
And I told him Deimos controlled them. Your friend Bishop was correct. There was a brain manipulating the undead. It was Deimos. Deimos realized he could access a person's DNA. He could possess them, inhabit them, consume them. He didn't need to turn them.
Like puppets on strings.
The undead are mindless creatures, but Taylor's team, Gojulan, anyone with DNI, they could be hosts. They were slaves to do his bidding.
Hendricks wanted to know why. We both did.
For many years I had studied Deimos and his dimension Malum, a place of unspeakable evil. He had been pulled to Earth, yanked from his existence by accident. Trapped here, he saw opportunity to enslave humanity and use them to wage an unholy war against Dolos.
The demigoddess. His sister. That was it? We were just a chess piece? Our entire existence was just...
A pawn in a much larger game in a universe far bigger than you realize. Humanity is an anthill. Deimos and Dolos are two children fighting over the magnifying glass. But Hendricks was desperate. He wanted to know how to kill Deimos.
You told him he couldn't.
How does one kill a god? You can't. The only way to defeat him, the only way to sever his control over the undead, for Bishop Surum to work and save humanity, was to send him back to Malum.
And to do that, we needed to open the gateway.
As we are doing now, by walking through your memories.
Ramses was beginning. The base was about to be overrun, and we owed Khalil that favor. Time to take the fight. We weren't ready for the station assault. I don't know how the dead got in. Maybe an abandoned tunnel, an infected civilian. Or maybe the vultures let them through. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. The Egyptian army came over comms. They'd never seen a horde this size move on the station. If we had any chance to stop them, we needed to reinforce the eastern checkpoint. A narrow passageway the dead would need to traverse to reach Ramses. Cairo. She was a city on fire. Except for the Egyptian army and a smattering of civilians hidden away. She'd fallen to the dead. Khalil didn't say it, but I could hear it in his voice. He knew this was the last stand. If they lost this battle, they'd lose the city.
What was Khalil's plan?
The undead were moving on the eastern checkpoint. A clear shot at Ramses Station. The Egyptian army had rigged explosives below the street, but there were a few support columns we would need to take out first. We had the spike launcher for that.
You talked of his desperation. His total acknowledgement of futility. Yet here he was, staying and fighting.
What else was he going to do? If it wasn't today, it was tomorrow. Or the day after that. We lost the war. The moment Diaz opened the quarantine zones. The moment Deimos entered our dimension. One way or another, death was coming for us all. But while we still could, we would fight. And right now, we had a checkpoint to defend. It was a simple, straightforward plan. Except... our VTOL was shot out of the sky. The mobile blockade fell early. It wasn't just the undead gunning for us. Cairo was a no-man's land, filled with the undead, rogue robotics, and scavengers. They were all converging on our position. If we were gonna pull this off, we didn't have time to fuck around. I grabbed the spike launcher and told Kane at HQ to locate the support columns for us to blow. We detonated the last support column, and we had to get back behind the wall so we could blow the street. Our triggerman got hit. I had to get up there and detonate. I told Hendricks I needed a moment. Good thing Hendricks still had our back. Khalil thanked us. He thought they still had a chance. They had no idea what was about to happen. Egyptian Army Command came over comms. A scavenger had blown a hole through Sophia Square, and the undead were pouring through, headed for Ramses. I told Khalil we'd take care of the square. I gave Hendricks a hand opening the VTOL hatch. I heard screams. There was someone still alive.
You went in to save this man? The odds of his survival could not have been great. You yourself said no one was getting out alive.
Does that matter? I guess it was Khalil who changed my mind. There were so few of us left. If there was a chance, any chance, I'd take it.
Even with all odds stacked against you, you tried to help this man. He clung to life without hope, and still you tried to save him.
Turns out it didn't matter. He didn't survive. It would only be a matter of time before he turned and joined the Horde. No time to stop and mourn. If I did that, I'd end up joining him. And we weren't going down just yet. Sophia Square was a total snap. Undead, rogue robotics, everything in the kitchen sink wanted a piece of us. It didn't take long for the Vultures to drop a second ASP. It was only a matter of time before a malfunctioning ASP arrived, ready to take out everyone and everything. was only a matter of time before a malfunctioning ASP arrived, ready to take out everyone and everything. It was only a matter of time before a malfunctioning ASP arrived, ready to take out everyone and everything. We cleared the plaza, but something was wrong. I could hear it.
What did you hear?
Nothing. And that was the problem. It took us a moment to realize what had happened. Something had taken up the dead system. One of the scavengers, maybe a malfunctioning biped. We saw reinforcements fly in, but it was too late. Khalil tried to reach Egyptian command. All we heard were screams. Ramses station had fallen to the dead. We got out of the open. Khalil, he'd reached a breaking point. No mistaking that look. That look of defeat, anger, frustration, hopelessness. You try to sympathize, you try to comfort. Doesn't matter. Then Kane came over comms. She'd picked up the location of Sarah Hall, Another of Taylor's team. Her signal popped back up on the grid. We had traced her to Kebeshet, the sandy ruins of Cairo's Garden City. I told Khalil if there was a sliver of hope, we needed to catch Hall and find Taylor. If we did, and found a way to send Deimos back to Malum, we could undo all of this.
And Hendricks?
His mind was melting. I still didn't know what was sparking his behavior. He didn't want to go after Hall. I said he didn't have a say in the matter. He didn't like that.
He attacked you.
I told you, it wasn't him. It was that look in his eyes. Like Gojulan, like Moretti, like Diaz. He wasn't buying this interdimensional bullshit. And why should he?
What did he say to you?
Salim lies.
He didn't think opening the portal would save us. It would destroy us. The last time it opened, evil came through. Why would this time be different? He said Deimos was trying to trick us. He said you were lying to us. Are you? This is wrong. This is all wrong. You said opening the gateway would save humanity. It was the only way to defeat Deimos and send him back to Malum. But opening the gateway would let the forces of evil through, allow them to conquer Earth, enslave us. Wait, we didn't meet at Ramsey Station. That didn't happen. You're feeding me false memories.
Be careful, my child. Tread lightly, or you are liable to offend me.
We contacted Khalil, inquired about you. He said you were dead. You died some time ago. I saw you die. When I was with Hall, inside her mind, she showed me the truth. Who are you really, Doctor? Deimos was going to open the gateway. He needed the demons of Malum to enslave Earth for the battle against Dolos. We didn't know what he had planned, but we had Sarah Hall, her signal tracing to Kebeshet.
You didn't think it odd that her signal appeared? After years of absence.
There wasn't time to think about it. But if we got her, we could find Taylor and decipher Deimos' plan. We had no idea we were being baited for a trap. She was waiting. She knew we were coming. Deimos was using Taylor to open the gateway. If we were gonna find him, we needed to take Hall down and interface with him. If we were gonna find him, we needed to take Hall down and interface with him. I'd interfaced before. I knew how it worked. It's a memory retrieval, an info dump, a lethal procedure. But this was different. She begged me to do it. Interfacing with someone is opening a portal to their mind, their darkest thoughts and desires. But this was her deep subconscious. This wasn't supposed to happen.
Because the deep subconscious is more than that. It is the gateway, the portal, to Malum. The subconscious hides your fears, your doubts. It's the most primal version of you. It's what you run from. And by running, you persevere in life. But what if you embrace the subconscious? How do you think I opened the gateway?
But you said to open the gateway, I had to relive my memories.
No. I told you to take me to the start of your journey. The journey into the depths of your fears. You chose to relive your memories. So tell me, what do you fear?
Please, why are you doing this? Why are you scrambling my mind? Don't make me do this!
You don't have a choice. You haven't had one since you picked up that child. Since you embraced Sarah's fear. Lead me to the depths. What did Sarah want you to see?
Project Corvus, 2060. The day of the Coalescence disaster. Sarah could feel Deimos coursing through her veins, her mind, the fabrics of her soul. He knew everything about her, and she knew everything about him. She learned the disaster wasn't an accident. But that means...
Well, I did what had to be done. This Cold War, the Winslow Accord, and Common Defense Pact had split the world in two. I saw humanity destroy itself. But in the lab, I saw truth. I saw peace. I saw Malum. A way to unite the world against an enemy greater than themselves. I saw Deimos.
You did this? You opened the gateway. You brought Deimos here.
I brought mankind's savior here. After many years, I realized opening the portal wasn't enough. With Deimos trapped in the server room, man had not yielded as I had hoped. I had to incentivize progress.
You created the disturbance that sent Taylor's team there?
His undead servants could only do so much. Humans with D&I, Deimos could use them to walk the earth.
Hall told me that she had no idea what they were getting into, but they had to follow standard operating procedure, which meant locking down the site and interfacing with the location's primary systems in the server room below. We were built to be invincible. Our D&I let us interface with systems in dangerous environments and upload information. We created the very opportunity for Deimos to leave the server room.
He was a prisoner, with no way to expand humanity's horizon.
We were vehicles for his transportation.
That makes it sound so cold. This is for the good of humanity. Tell me, what did Sarah fear?
Failure. At the Academy, she studied the battles of World War II. The bravery of these men. She feared she could never match their heroism. She feared she didn't have real courage. She ran from it. She had nightmares of Bastogne. As she entered her subconscious, she gave into fear, let it pull her away. I followed her. Deep within her mind, there had to be a way to save her. The world began to fall apart. We heard his voice. Deimos.
Sarah, listen to the sound of my voice. I will have my army and my kingdom. All that remains is her sacrifice.
He was trying to consume her, and he wasn't about to let me stop him. The world began to fall apart. We heard his voice. Deimos.
Sarah, listen to the sound of my voice. I will have my army and my kingdom. All that remains is her sacrifice.
He was trying to consume her, and he wasn't about to let me stop him. the world began to fall apart. We heard his voice. Deimos.
Sarah, listen to the sound of my voice. I will have my army and my kingdom. All that remains is her sacrifice.
He was trying to consume her, and he wasn't about to let me stop him. Was fracturing, stretched between our dimension and his. She warned me to turn back, to let Deimos take her. I told her I'd stay with her. I'd see it to the end. I asked her what happened after coalescence.
You were deep within her subconscious, at the threshold of another dimension. You seemed to embrace the journey.
You think I wasn't scared? I was terrified. There was no way to make up for what I had done, but I had to try. From the moment she was possessed, Hall became a passenger in her own body, a witness unable to intervene as Deimos began using her for his purpose. He wanted them to go to the Black Station. He wanted to find you, to meet the man who'd given him his freedom. He slaughtered the staff. Ravaged them. Why did he kill them?
I wasn't there. He was upset. And he wasn't happy to learn of the documentation of his existence. It was not time for his big reveal, his masterpiece. He was angry. When he found the data drives, he couldn't access them. Part of the drive was missing. He couldn't purge the information as he hoped.
The piece Hendricks and I recovered from the docks. Someone had hidden them from him. Someone knew he would come. Someone was trying to stop him. Deimos didn't want Sarah divulging his secrets to us either. He ripped us from that memory. We were in Foy. I didn't just see fear in Sarah's eyes anymore. I saw admiration. The longer I stayed, the stronger she became. The more she actually believed she had a chance. She told me to follow her. There was something she wanted me to see. Something she wanted to tell me. There was a chapel ahead of us. Hall told me to follow her there. But to get to Hall, we had to get through the Tiger team first. I tried to approach her, but Deimos had other ideas. He was desperate to separate us and evict me from her mind. He wanted her, and I was getting in his way. She told me to approach her. She wanted me to understand.
Sarah couldn't understand. She only saw how it ended. Humans are obsessed with beginnings and ends. The journeys between, they become filler. Life becomes filler. She tried to fight the voice in her head that had given her the ultimate gift.
The ultimate gift? Deimos was controlling her.
Relinquishing control is the ultimate gift. Free of choice, free of pressure, free of consequence. Her actions dictated for her with greater purpose. She was granted the greatest gift of all, and she fought it. How dare you fight the voice of a god?
You're insane.
No. Humanity is insane. You asked her to help you find Taylor. Where did she take you next?
Deimos needed Taylor to open the gateway, so I had to know how, had to know what Deimos was planning. The Aquifers. Sarah told me this was their fortress in the sand, their FOB for years. Deimos couldn't access the intelligence at the Singapore Black Station. He couldn't locate you, so they hid here, waiting for their moment. She took me there. There's something I don't get. You made this happen. You've pushed for the annihilation of Earth. But Deimos wasn't using you. You weren't his puppet. What's in this for you? Why are you doing this? Are you an undead sympathizer?
No, my child. Dr. Salim was not a sympathizer. He was so much less than that. He was so much more insignificant than that.
Was? Wait. What do you mean, was?
I must say, I'm impressed with how delusional you've become. You had completely forgotten this memory.
They found you. They tortured you for information, but this doesn't make any sense. You were an ally. You enabled him, freed him.
Dr. Salim was no ally. He was a tool. An instrument I enabled. He was a blind idealist believing he could make the world a better place. That I could save humanity, that he could save humanity. He thought I'd found him to thank him. Me. A god. Thank a mortal. I found him to seize power from him.
No.
Even now you still hide from the truth. Corvus had been destroyed in Singapore. I needed it to open the gateway. That was why I had kept Salim alive. He worked with a colleague, Kruger. And they built me a new Corvus at Coalescence headquarters in Zurich. One which I could use to open the gateway. So I had no further need for the doctor. She knew what was coming. All that remained was her sacrifice. For her to join my ranks in eternal damnation under my command. I am humanity's salvation. A savior giving purpose to a lost species that deserves far less. I am Deimos.
The tree. I've seen it before. The entrance to Malum.
Tell me, what do you fear? You don't fear the undead. You've thrown yourself against insurmountable odds, as if you had a death wish. As if you were trying to escape. Is it failure? Is it life? No. You fear your mistakes, your past. Your greatest fear is the memory that haunts you.
You awaited her sacrifice. She wanted me to stop you. She wanted me to end it. To deny you her offering.
You wouldn't give up. You wouldn't let me have her.
If she offered herself, she'd give you what you wanted. The only way to deny you was to kill
You
her.
denied me my prize. It was time to send you back to your world. You must know how this ends. This ends with your sacrifice. But now I had you. I passed from Hall's mind to your own. Slowly, I would work my way through you. Sarah may have told you who I was and what I was planning, but none of that mattered because now I had you. But you were strange. I tried to seize control, but something pushed back, something fought me.
They located Taylor. He was being held at Lotus Towers, run by a man named Hakim, an undead sympathizer who would get you out of Cairo. I told Kane we had to hurry. We had to hurry if we were going to stop you. There was something we needed to know. The data drives, how did Kane know they were split up? Was she the one who separated the drives? Why? She said there was much we didn't know, but we would in time. We had to trust her. We had to get to Lotus Towers.
You know how this ends. You're like the rest of them. Diaz, Moretti, Hall, Taylor. I flow through your veins, slowly grasping control. But you're stronger than I anticipated. Your resistance is greater. But this only makes you all the better for my needs. Lotus Towers. What happened there?
You think I'll help you? After all this?
What real choice do you have in the matter? You're the pawn in my game.
I'm not about to hand over humanity, but I'll humor you. Fine. Let's talk about Lotus Towers. Lotus Tower was one of many megastructures in Cairo. Hakim was the self-appointed slum lord of the vertical city. That fucker was a maniac. An undead sympathizer providing Taylor with safe passage from Cairo to Zurich. Khalil and the Egyptian army joined us for the assault. If we got Taylor, we thought we had a chance. We took out Hakim's men. To get to Taylor, we first had to kill the slum lord, then take the security station on the 25th floor. From there, we could locate Taylor and shut down the dead systems Hakim installed, allowing the rest of the Egyptian army to join the fight. So there we were, humanity's last hope. If we failed, we were fucked.
Do as he asks. Give Deimos what he wants. Trust me. It's all going to be okay.
We made a bet with
Remember the
Hakim.
truth.
Khalil spoke to the people. This was their time. Time for the living to take back this city of the dead. Khalil had a mobile shop in place. We could use it to get to the 25th floor. But first, we had to battle our way around the atrium. Once we took the security station and killed the dead system, Cairo air support could move in. Maybe we'd have a chance. Or at least give the people a chance.
And then we were coming for Taylor. We were coming for you.
The security station had gone under lockdown. We found a way through the air ducts ahead. Hendricks opened the path for us. The delay irritated him, but then he wasn't himself.
I wonder, how did you not know what happened to him? Did you just not see it? Were you so blinded by blissful ignorance?
Kane set the deads to overheat. Egyptian army VTOLs would join the fight in a few minutes.
And John Taylor?
He was in a detention center on the 90th floor, just waiting. He could have left at any moment, but...
I was waiting for you.
Fuck you.
What was it? I must know. What was in your mind that refused to fall in rank like your friends had? Even now I am without answers.
Even the all-powerful and all-knowing are neither all-powerful or all-knowing.
Do you know who I am? Can you comprehend what I have seen? Millions of timelines, universes where the coalescence disaster never happens, ones where it occurs, but instead of opening the gateway, it gives birth to a new life form. And that's just Earth, let alone the rest of the universe. The very notion that I can achieve such greatness and not control a mortal is insulting.
Hendricks was stretched thin. You'd broken him.
I enlightened him, like I did you. Look at the false memories I created for you. I tried to remove your near-death experience in Ethiopia. I added myself to your memory of Ramses. I protected you from what haunted you. I wanted to make you understand my motives.
Right. This war with your sister, Dolos? What's it say about you that the only way you can defeat her is by enslaving backup?
Don't you dare mock me.
And there he was. John Taylor. The last 5 years, boiling down to a single moment.
And you hesitated. You could have killed him right there, and you hesitated. After all these years, running from failure, and you couldn't pull the trigger. You had what you wanted right in front of you, yet you stopped. What was it? Why stop now when you were so close? Was it compassion? Regret?
No. It was Hendricks. He tried to talk Taylor down, get him to change his mind. And for a moment, I saw the light return to Hendricks' eyes. I saw him. This is one of my last memories with Hendricks before... well, before what happened. And watching Taylor walk away as Hendricks pleaded, I saw the inevitability. We weren't going to win this war.
But as always, you pressed on.
This was the world we made. What else were we going to do?
Let them come. Like puppets and strings. What choice do you have, Deimos? This is the world you made for yourself.
Taylor was gunning for Tower 2. The NRC built an airfield on the roof. It was his way out of Cairo. The Egyptian army moved in to offer support as we moved across the sky bridge. Taylor was gunning for Tower 2. The NRC built an airfield on the roof. It was his way out of Cairo. The Egyptian army moved in to offer support as we moved across the sky bridge. Taylor was gunning for Tower 2. The NRC built an airfield on the roof. It was his way out of Cairo. The Egyptian army moved in to offer support as we moved across the sky bridge.
What happened when you entered Tower 2?
Another malfunction. My DNI.
Listen to me. Listen to the sound of my voice. I need you to trust me. Let him win. The only way to defeat Deimos is to let him win. You are more powerful than he can imagine. You can still save them. you can still save everyone.
Hendricks snapped us out of it. Tower 2 was an inferno, an abandoned robot factory crawling with malfunctioning robotics and the undead. We had to move.
I must admit, our conversations, talking to you now, it has been quite the journey. Even now, you still resist submission. I don't think I've ever met a human like you. You certainly are unique. You really gave humanity a fighting chance. By this time, you knew I was baiting you, waiting for you. I had no need for Hendricks. He wasn't interesting. I wanted you. I gave him something to keep him busy. You came after me. What's it like? Looking at him for one last time. One moment he's with you. But next, we know what happens next. I was leaving Cairo. It was time to move on. But still I lingered. But I think you had my full attention. Your resistance, your unwillingness to yield hope. I wanted to see what you were made of.
A mothership. The only way to bring it down was by taking out its thrusters. I needed something more powerful. And you threw everything you could at me. The mothership crashed and pinned me on the roof. I was stuck. Trapped. I called out, but there was no one there.
I'd gotten over my curiosity, and now you were just a nuisance. I no longer needed my distraction. It was time to rid the world of you. And Taylor was just the vehicle to carry out my plan. You raised your hand, tried to stop him, tried to reason with him. But something happened. A change. He changed. What was it he said?
He told me he had to get you out of his head. He'd ripped out his DNI, the very method by which you controlled us.
What did he say to you?
He asked me about Kane. Somehow he knew who she was. He told me to trust her. I don't know how he knew.
And then my puppet made his entrance.
Hendricks. He was infected. Like Taylor. Like me. It happened at Coalescence Singapore 5 years ago. When he interfaced with Diaz. I should have seen it. I should have known. You'd been possessing him since the beginning.
You humans, so focused on your beginnings and endings. It's no wonder you destroyed yourselves. So I gave you your ending. I left you there to die. Hendricks would be my vehicle of annihilation. But your guardian angel, she wouldn't let you die. She saved you. She helped you cheat death again. She wouldn't let you die. You must have been tired. Tired of fighting, of running, of living. What's it like to escape death when it's all you desire? What did she have to say to you?
Do as he asks. Give Deimos what he wants. Trust me. It's all going to be okay.
That we were going to Zurich. To stop Hendricks. To stop you. To end it.
Humanity has outstayed its welcome. The dead shall inherit the earth. I shall have my army to defeat Dolos. Malum shall be mine, and all that remains is your sacrifice, an offering of blood. Follow your path. Relive your final moments and change your fate to a far greater one. Your resistance was strong. But it was a matter of time before you obediently bowed before me, as the rest of your species did. Let us return to Zurich and finish this. I will have my war, and you will bear witness to the end of mankind. With Hendricks as my vehicle, I stampeded towards Coalescence, leaving pandemonium in my wake. Zurich was one of the few remaining standing cities. With control over my undead army and the city's robotic security force, I decimated it in hours. I needed to separate you from your guardian angel, Kane. I didn't have control over her, and she was pulling my power from you. That would come later. by taking Coalescence headquarters, surrounding it with an impenetrable armada. But I waited for you. I was still curious. I was in your head. But I couldn't take control. I wanted no... I needed to know how before I opened the gateway. But before that, you had to get through my undead army.
City systems had gone haywire. Vehicles, trains, power, anything connected to the grid was now a weapon at your disposal. You used Hendricks' DNI to plug into the system. We could see that from the carnage you unleashed, but we didn't know how bad it was yet. WA Command came over comms. They were experiencing robotic, and you built yourself a wall of robotics blocking us from Coalescence. By the time we made it inside, you'd extended beyond Switzerland's grid. You'd seized control of WA Command. All remaining robotics protecting the world from the undead were now only loyal to you. You'd done it. It was the beginning of the end of mankind. All that stood between you and domination were the two women in that lobby.
And soon that too will be dealt with accordingly.
You trapped us in a decontamination room. You released this chemical.
6115. The virus that caused the outbreak in Singapore. And I had enough to wipe out all of Zurich.
You had triggered multiple breaches and containment failures. I interfaced with the system to see how bad the damage was.
And Kane acted as I predicted.
She sacrificed herself. The room was flooded with 6115, and the system reset was in there. But wait. No. There was a problem. What had you done? You lied. You tricked her. There was no breach. She sacrificed herself for nothing.
I ripped her from you. She could toy no more in my affairs. The dose I gave her wouldn't even turn her. It would simply kill her. I will never understand your species. You sacrifice yourselves for so little. Look at her. She gave her life for something that would amount to nothing. You tie yourselves to emotions, forcing you to act impulsively, without considering what could happen. You give your lives because you believe there's something to gain, as if a heavenly body would fall to its knees and worship you for your good deeds. Keep moving. Do you remember this place? What happened here?
You found Kruger. The one who rebuilt Project Corvus.
It was time to open the gateway, and Kruger was proving difficult, unwilling to fulfill his task. But he was equipped with DNI like yours. There were easier ways I could persuade him. I could become him.
I couldn't let you. I told Hendricks to stand down, or I'd take him down myself. You were desperate to convince him to open the gateway. You were relying on me being unable to shoot my friend, but I eventually did. We shot each other. I bled out on the floor and died, with Hendricks, stopping you!
But now you will shoot first. Change the memory. Don't wait for him to turn on you. Kill him. Change your fate.
Let him win. Everything will be all right.
Good. Now sacrifice yourself. Open the gateway.
Do as he asks. Let him think he's won. Offer yourself to him.
Wait. What? Where am I? What is this place? Hendricks? What are you doing here? Where are we? What the hell's going on? I can't hear you. What are you saying? Why can't I hear you?
Humans have no voice in this place, and how could they? But as it happens, this is not Hendricks, merely a reflection of your consciousness. It's how our realm manifests itself to mortals.
How is this possible? What did you do?
Deimos? What's happening?
Why don't you ask your friend? Maybe Hendricks can explain it.
He won't speak. He can't speak.
Of course not. Of course the mortal cannot speak. Their voice is meaningless and insignificant. Why would we cater to their wants and wills when they shouldn't be here?
Where is here?
Like you don't know. Now you choose to play dumb with me. Do you even know what you've done? Where is Kruger? You did this. You made this happen. Answer me, what did you do? And yet, we have another voiceless mortal. I can do little with you. I should not be here. This wasn't the plan. I was to open the gateway, not pass through it. And still you can't speak. You move your mouth like a child, but you do not speak. I am Deimos, demigod of dread and terror, and you will not speak! Look at him, angry at his circumstances and his attempts to be heard. But it's curious. How can you speak? You're mortal. Or at least so you would have me believe.
Deimos, I don't know what you think's happening.
Enough! In time, I'm sure it will become clear, but now... Now I leave you to die.
Hello? Who's there? Where am I?
This is your new home, my child. This is Malum.
I recognize your voice. You've spoken to me before.
I am the reason you're still alive. I've been with you from the start, traveling with you all this time. And now you're going to kill my brother for me. Oh yes, there's much work to be done. So much fun to be had.
Still you live. You
Fun
just
to be had.
won't die.
Who
How
are
many times can I lead
I
you
am
to
Dolus,
death only for you to walk
Demigoddess
away
of deception
unscathed?
and trickery.
This
And you're
poor rambling youth soul didn't do a damn thing.
Deimos? Dolos? Taylor? Is anyone there? Dolos. I recognize these buildings. Why does this place look so strange, yet so familiar?
Malum is a realm beyond conceptual space and time. It manifests as a reflection of the individual. This is your Malum. Follow Taylor. He'll take you to the heart. This cold world is damned and consumed by death. It's outstayed its welcome in the known universe. Father won't be pleased. What better time than now, I suppose?
You think I will let you do that?
Of course. You were never particularly good at anything. You were built to kneel, not rule. What's the human expression? Always a bridesmaid. I arrived on Earth with my brother.
Destroy you!
I lay hidden in shadow. Deimos never knew, but he's a simple creature. He's concerned with revenge, power, violence. He wanted an undead army just so he could kill me. How boring. And I was content to let him think he'd won. So I sat back while he consumed all of Earth.
You realize the futility of your actions? A human cannot kill a god.
But she's no ordinary human. Wherever she goes, I follow. I'm in her head, a part of her.
How could you have known my plan?
Because it was my plan. I watched her in coalescence, saved her in the aquifers, guided her through battle. This entire time, you've played into my...
It's a pity she won't live to see me kill you. It's a pity she won't live to see me kill you. It's a pity she won't live to see me kill you.
Dolos, you were Kane? You were with me the whole time.
I am not my brother. I don't turn people into puppets. Not when they're so suggestible and malleable. Why control when they can formulate their own thoughts? Go. Destroy the heart.
I will break you, rip you from her grasp.
Taylor found us easily. All it took was for the Doctor to create the disturbance. And Deimos thought he'd manipulated Selim. I had my fun watching my brother play with his toys, but I was bored. It was time to go home.
You let him destroy humanity.
Oh, relax. Humanity will be just fine. Without Deimos, Bishop's cure will work. Humanity will return to its boring, uninteresting self. Don't you worry your little head. You know, even if you kill Deimos, you can't go home. The gateway to Earth is sealed. You're trapped here. I hope that's not inconvenient.
If killing that fucker means damnation here, I'll take it.
Oh, I think you and I are going to get along just fine.